This is a great opportunity to check out the hives. This is a February 12, 13 degrees and it's a great opportunity to see which hives are actually surviving. So we've got this hive here. You can see pollen being brought in, large in number. This is my smallest hive, what I was worried about. There was no activity here. See pollen coming in. This is a fairly decent hive. So this hive is my most prolific hive in this location, and you can see that by the numbers going in and out. Huge amounts. I'm very happy.
I'm very happy too.
And this one is another little micro hive. But I knew that they were alive because I've actually looked into them to feed them very recently. Amazing. So in this little yard, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hives, 100% survival so far, which is great. So this is how I actually make some sugar syrup up to feed the bees. This is a huge, I think it's 25 litre, honey bucket essentially, which I have dedicated for use for sugar syrup for feeding bees. So what I've got there is 5 kilograms of sugar in the bottom with about half of this jug, so maybe about a litre and a half of cold water, and I've just stirred it. And then what I'm doing is the cold water just lowers the temperature so it doesn't melt the bucket. I'm pouring, water from the boil in, and mixing it. And I am terribly unscientific with my sugar syrup, but my bees never complain. The reason I'm feeding at the minute is actually because we are in a period of just constant rain. Oh, look at the little bird. Yeah, we're in a period of just constant rain all the time. So we're here in Lauder, having a look at a swarm of bees. If you can see that, medium-sized clump. I got the kids suited up with me. Hey Gideon.
Yeah.
We're gonna try and capture this swarm. See how I'm gonna shake this branch, okay, firmly, and all the bees will go in there. Okay, you ready?
Don't panic, Gideon.
I missed slightly, but I got most of them. Now what we do is see where they settle, okay?
Now they're going everywhere.
They
Don't
are.
panic. They're trying to sting you, Dad.
They're not.
They will land on us, Gideon.
Now what we do, we stand back and we watch. I missed the box a little bit, unfortunately. Stand back, we watch. Hopefully, we'll start going into the box. Let's see. So, just by luck, I've managed to find Queenie. Let's see if I can show you her. A better view of her. I was scooping bees in and I spotted her. She wasn't actually in the hive. So a lot of beekeepers get the bulk of the bees from a swarm and then they disappear. But if I had done this, I would have took a queenless swarm home. I was looking for her all the time, and out of luck, to find her. These are. So we captured the queen, and we popped her back in after painting her. And she was a mated queen and looked good. And now bees are fanning because we got the queen inside the box. And there was a whole bunch of bees outside, and they're all going in. It's looking good, isn't it, Gideon?
Yeah.
Oh, you're grabbing me. You alright, Phoebe? What are you doing now? Playing with a saw. I just saw the branch off. The branch was just here. We had to saw it off because there was too many bees going back to the smell of the wax. But this is the strongest scent. You see the bees there just sticking their bum out in the air. And they're fanning. Noisy. And they're saying, "Queen is in here, Queen is in here." Gideon, don't flap them. Well, I'm at Rutherford just now, and I am about to do my 2019 summer, autumn really, harvest of bees. Look there, these are my bees, and you can see only 2 of them have what's called supers, which are the little boxes above. And this is a brood box. It's a big one, and these small ones are supers. So there's actually 1, 2, 3, 4 on that one, and just 3 on this one to harvest. You know, some of the frames could be partially completed, and what we do with those is we actually pop them in the freezer for next year. But some of them, hopefully most of them, are full of honey. So that's what I'm hoping for. And I've actually driven just into the field because this was oilseed rape in the spring, and you can see it's been harvested and it's now just a bunch of stubble, and it's lovely and dry today, so I can drive onto the field and just pop the honey straight into the car. We'll see how it goes. It says it's 22.5 degrees, which is plenty hot. You can see the bees are still flying, but you can see a little cluster there. You know, they're on their way home really, so this isn't the most fantastic time to harvest honey, because when I get into these boxes, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of bees keeping them nice and warm. So I might find that they're a little bit more aggressive than if I'd done it at 2 p.m, let's say, when they're all out, you know, and don't notice me being there. But anyways, this is the time I've got, and this is the time we're going to do it. Right, well, suited up. We've got a lovely sunset there behind the Eildons, as you can see. Looks fantastic. But yeah, suited up and ready to go. So this is rotten wood that you collect in winter, and when it comes to spring, hopefully it's completely dry, and it's a fantastic smoker fuel. And rather than do what loads of folk do, sit and try and light smokers, just use one of these things, which is a blowtorch. Because if you do this at the same time as just giving it a puff, it really doesn't take that long. It's lit there. There we go. And we've got smoke. So first thing we do, we're going to start with this hive right here. So I'm just going to give it a gentle smoke at the entrance there. Now what that does is it'll send all the workers quite well stuck down. Here we go, there's some bees on the top that's stuck it down. So I'll put in the roof down there. I'm just going to give these guys, because these guys are technically the guard bees. These are the bees that they're foragers, so they're also the ones that are you know, used to stinging and looking after the hive. So you can puff to send them back down. Now what I will do is I need some empty boxes and a brush. What I tend to do is I do this. I have there it is there. So what I do is I have a box here that I place on a lid. And this is where the honey is going to go. I'm actually going to place it on top of this hive here, because this hive's just got a wee colony in it that are growing. They won't mind me using them as a table. So yeah, that goes there, just as a wee... And this here, now it should be fine at this time of night, but this is basically just a lid for me to put on. So if lots of bees start coming and trying to rob the honey, that's just a lid to kind of put back on. Right, so let's have a crack and see how we get on. There's faster ways of doing it. There's chemicals you can put on. I actually like the idea of chemicals. There's contraptions that you put on, but you have to know when you're harvesting, because you put them on one day and the next day you harvest. Now, actually, there's not a lot of bees in this box. And it looks like it's... most of the frames in the middle are harvestable. So what I'm going to do is actually just take this off, sit it over there. This is the roof, I'm sitting it over here. And we'll just quickly have a little go. Because what I might do, instead of lifting out each frame that is harvestable, I might just keep the ones in that are good. So that frame there, there's no honey in that. Pollen. There's a wee nectar in the middle of it. This is nectar, but it's not finished. It's not capped. You see the bees are sitting there drinking it. Although it's not coming out, so it probably would be harvestable as honey, but it's a pathetic amount. So I'm not going to take that off for them. I'm going to put that in this box here to give back to the bees. Now this again. Now that is nectar on that side. Starting to be capped honey on that side. It's probably harvestable this side, but it's a pathetic amount. So I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to give this back to the bees. I'll sit this in here. Bees are being okay just now. I've been bopped a couple of times, which is they bop you on the head just to warn you. But they've been all right just now. It's a lovely darker bee here. And you can see there's empty frames in the middle. There's not very much nectar coming in right now, which makes me think, the season's. I picked the right time to harvest, because I think the season is very much at an end. This is a beautiful frame. I'm going to harvest that one. I do need to get the bees off this, so what I will do is just brush them. I'm going to brush them at the entrance, because if I brush them back into the super, then obviously I have to brush them again. So I am just going to quickly put these in the grass just over here. What we can actually do, because it looks like that's good to go. A lovely frame, that one. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yep, just brush them again. It doesn't matter if I get the odd bee. Again, just sit it on the grass for a second. The odd wasp going about. This is wasp season now. Another beautiful frame. You can see that the colour of the honey this year is a lovely golden. You can see it there. It's darker than what I had last year, which makes things interesting. Another frame there, harvestable. Gently brushing them off. These brushes can be a little bit crude. You can make them a little bit angry brushing the bees off, but you see there's nothing going back to these frames because we've picked the right time of day, I think. Again, just brushing off. A lovely frame there again. You don't worry that there's a slightly amount of honey that's uncapped there. I can test it when I'm at home.
with a refractometer. And if it's not honey strength, then what I'll do is I'll spin the ones out that are not honey strength, and I'll actually feed this back to this colony, not any other colony, because you don't spread disease. I'll feed them back just to this colony, which you can do, of course, if you just have a few hives. If you have 100,000 hives, then it makes it a bit more difficult. So I think this is the last frame in this box that is harvestable. Do you know what? It's difficult to say. Questionable frame. It looks good on that side, not good on that side. So what I tend to do again is I just leave these for the bees. So and there's actually a frame there with nothing in it. You know, this has got absolutely nothing in it. So what I tend to do is try and there's nothing in that. So what I tend to do this time of year is take off any comb that's got nothing in. I take it off. So these two are you worked on? Well, let's just check this one. Yes, there's a little bit of nectar in that one. You know, these are good frames for spring next year. I'll leave these two in. This can become my box for the bees. I'll take these and put these back in it as well.
Gorgeous. Great, so there we have it. I've ended up with, let's just have a look, 4 boxes of honey. One in the top that's just full of frames that are drawn out for next spring. One box full of honey. 2, 3, 4 boxes of honey, which should be absolutely great. And I've left 2 on, see what they do with. You never know, they might fill 1 or 2 more. If the season's absolutely glorious in an Indian summer, they'll fill them all. So we'll just see how that goes. And I'm just going to pop in before I go home. This is Varroa treatment. This is what I use at this time of life. It's called Apalife. Yeah, focus on that. Apalife. And there's 2 wafers in there, enough for 2 hives. And I've got 2 hives here, this one and that one, which are not producing honey. You can only treat hives for Varroa with this medicine anyways, when you ain't got honey on. You don't want to taint the honey with chemicals. So yeah, if you want to know more about what Varroa is, a parasite that just destroys bee colonies, you can research that. Maybe I'll tell you about it in another video. This is a good hive. I've just cracked it open, and anyways, the top of this frame, you couldn't see the frames, it was just black with bees everywhere. Lovely, lovely black coloured bees. So I'm chuffed with it. This is a split that happened in June, I think it was. 2 frame split, and they've filled this entire hive. So yeah, just checking. Queenie's not on this. She's not. Good. I'm gonna get this dose on and call it a day. So if you're wondering why the quality of video on my videos is getting poorer, is actually because I am in desperate need of a new phone. I think as time goes on, more cracks in my camera glass happen, and anyways, I'm one for making things last, but I think I'm probably a bit skimping on this one. So I'm just getting organised just now to do one of my final really looks in on my hive before I consider it season over and it's winter. I've got 6 hives at this apiary, 4 at my other one, and these are just the bees at home, just in here at my home apiary. And yeah, my main thing is I actually swapped a hive last week, a week ago, because one hive was getting eaten by wasps. I swapped position with a really healthy hive, and I'm just going to check in today that they're not overcrowding, because you can actually get swarms at any time of year. So if I overcrowd, that means just means too many bees in one box, then they go, hey, there's no room for everyone, some of us will leave, you know. So that's what I'm going to check in today, see how they're going. Probably what I'm going to do is give them some more frames, you know, above, as well as feeding. Even though it's late in the season, they can still do some work and maybe create some space for themselves. But I'll see. Yeah, let's see how we get on. Great, so this is just gone through the apiary, and the hive I was concerned about is absolutely fine space-wise. I've just left them, they're good. But this is the kind of thing I'm doing. So when you treat for varroa, you have these little biscuit type things. I don't know if you can see that on the end of my thing. And you do a certain number of these. You put them down. They've chewed that one. It used to be a square. Now it's actually time to take it off. So, you know, I take it off, it will just degrade. So you just take it off there. So you don't want to leave this over winter, because otherwise mites might develop a resistance, you know, to it. That's a theory anyways. You take it away from the bees, and you let them recover after you've dosed them, you know. So the only thing I need to remember about this hive, you see I've got 11 frames here, but I've actually got a gap here, you know, big enough for my finger to go in really. And if I was to leave this hive, I'd open it up in spring, and I'd actually find that they'd fill that gap with comb, which would be an absolute nuisance to get to. At the minute, you can see the bees only go up to about there. So they're, you know, they are almost a full hive. You know, they're not quite. You know, they've got a little bit of growing to do before they would start putting frames in random places, putting wax in random places. So I'm okay at the minute. So as a little, I don't know why more beekeepers don't do it, but this is how I feed. I got one of these things, which I only use for food feeding. It is a honey bucket, but I never use it for honey. And I put these boards, so these boards go on top of the hive just like that. I'm not going to put it on because I need to just get rid of the bees there before I dump it on. And I fill this, it's called a rapid feeder, with quite a lot of syrup at once. I get all my syrup feeding done in about a week, and then that's me. Cool. I am actually feeling quite happy because today is my birthday, and I've got a new phone, which is fantastic. Yesterday, actually 2 days ago, I was chainsawing, lifting some heavy wood, and unfortunately I was lifting logs. I didn't know, but my screen was facing outwards in my pocket, and I was lifting logs, crushing my screen each time. And because it was already broken, I was pressing into the spot that a cow had previously kicked, and therefore pressing into the electronics, and I basically trashed my phone that day. So yeah, we got a new phone, and it means that hopefully I can do some more videoing, because the problem, you know, one of the problems with my last phone is that the camera had cracks in the actual glass, so the camera screen just wasn't very good either. So hopefully now get back into regularly videoing things that we do around the farm and things that I do with the bees, and produce some more regular videos. So yeah, something I really enjoy. So yeah. Right, this one is